All right, today we're talking about leather. There's so many leather boots out there. There's so many labelings on boots, genuine leather, faux leather. Today we're gonna walk through like what is leather? How do you know if you're getting a good deal or you're getting duped? Is it really genuine or is it some sort of synthetic blend that ultimately looks like leather but isn't? So today we're gonna talk about a few tests we can use for determining if your boot is actually leather. What is leather? Leather should probably come from an animal. If it's coming from a real animal, it should probably have some markings to identify that it's an actual animal. There should be some bug bites, there should be some veins, there should be stretch marks. It should kind of look and feel like an animal. In this case, this would be a steer hide. So let's kind of walk through what are some of the tests to determining what you've got. Number one, does it smell like leather? When you open your boots from the box, you take a big whiff. Oh yeah, that is Seidel from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ooh, some veg goodness. That's gonna be from Wickett and Craig in Pennsylvania. If your boot smells like leather when you open the box, you've probably got some genuine leather on your hands. Now, if you open the box and you're not quite sure, this smells a little chemical-y. It doesn't smell like leather. And so you should be thinking, what is it then? Is there some resin that's impregnated in this stuff? It certainly looks like leather, but it doesn't smell like leather. So it's probably not actual leather, even though it looks like it. There's a lot of polyurethane products out there. There's PVC products. There's bonded leathers out there, which essentially take leather shavings and press them onto some binding agent like cotton or nylon. But rule number one is it should smell like leather, and if it doesn't, it's probably not. Test number two, does it feel like leather? When you pull the boot out of the box, does it have an organic, supple feel to it? When you crumple it up like this, does it spring back immediately or does it kind of slowly spring back to shape? If it's slowly springing back to shape, that means that it's probably full grain, packed with oils, grease, tallows, and it's saturating the hide through, creating a wonderful tannage. If it doesn't feel like leather, it's probably not leather. Here is a very shiny boot. This is a Pacific Northwest knockoff boot, and when you touch and feel this thing and you crumple it up, it just springs right back. It feels very plasticky. It does not smell in the least bit like leather, and it doesn't even really look or feel like leather. So this is probably some sort of polyurethane coating or PVC that was put onto some sort of, it can be attached to a suede, so that does resemble a suede, but again, a lot of times we're just bonding and we're coating a leather. So this does not smell and does not feel like leather. It is probably some form of leather, but not a high-grade leather. Number three, does it look like leather? Can you actually see pores in the hair side of the leather? On a good piece of leather, you can actually see there's small indentations from where the hair was on the animal. If you look at the suede side, can you actually identify that indeed this is from the flesh side of the animal? And we look at the cross section and we can tell that this is a top grain to a suede. This is a full grain leather. Oftentimes you can take a sample piece of leather, or you can take from your boots or a piece of the boots. If you cut a cross section, you'll see some odd looking layers. They're discolored. That usually means that you've got a faux leather on your hand. Here's an old Doc Martin, fairly vintage. It looks like leather. It feels like leather. And indeed, it's probably leather. Even though it's not thick, this feels like a full grain leather. Here is a fake Doc Martin that we actually rebuilt with full grain genuine leather. If you look at the cross section here, you can tell from the suede to the top finish, there's a distinct line, and that is evidence of some sort of polyurethane coating or some sort of bonding going on, because again, the outside of this thing does not look or feel like leather at all. On the inside, you might be duped a little bit. It looks like it might be a cheaper suede, but again, it's bonded with some other material, or some other material is poured on top of it. Again, it doesn't smell, look, or feel like leather. Number four, does it hold up? A lot of these cheaper leathers simply will not hold up. You'll get cracking And once the leather starts to crack, it'll just start peeling off like paint. And in many cases, you'll see that there is a nylon or a cotton backer on this stuff. If you find an old boot, you know, parts of boots, and they just maintain their integrity, even though they're dirty and gross. They might have some evidence of cracking and checking, but even though it's cracked, it keeps its malleability, and you're really, in many cases, just cracking the top layer, but you've got really good body going through the entire grain structure. If you've got boots that are not holding up, they're cracking, checking, peeling, you've usually got some sort of bonding going on. You usually have a polyurethane or you've got a PVC going on. But these boots have stood the test of time. You know, they're ancient. Even though they've got cracking, checking, they're dry through and through. It's a full grain leather, and you can actually rehydrate these, condition them, and you can bring them back to life, which would not be the case with some of this more fake material. Once this stuff is cut, cracked, and chipped and peeled, it's pretty much worthy of the trash can. So again, in summary, how do you determine if you got duped or if you've got a good leather boot? Number one, does it smell like leather? Number two, does it feel like leather? When you crumple it in your hands or pinch it, does it spring back immediately, or does it kind of keep the form? That's evidence that you've got full grain leather that's packed with oils and greases and tallows that have penetrated the entire hide. And number three, does it look like leather? Can you actually see veins? Can you see some evidence of stretch marks, bug bites, scars in the leather? Imperfections in a leather hide are evidence that it is a genuine piece of hide. If you've got no imperfections, you have a matte finish that doesn't look like leather, it's probably not leather. And number four, does it stand up to the test of time? The more you wear the boot and you flex the boot, does it crumple, chip, and peel away? Or as you wear it, does it patina? Even though it cracks a little bit, can you put oil and grease in it and bring that leather back to life? This boot has stood the test of time, probably several rebuilds on this upper. We're talking decades of wear on this boot. You can obviously see the flex points, the points that have taken the most beating, but we're not throwing this in the trash. We're actually rebuilding it because the upper leather is still good decades later. So when you're buying your boots and you open the box, sniff it, crumple it up, inspect it, make sure that you're actually getting leather and not something that resembles leather. You would be shocked at how much money people pay for boots that are simply polyurethane, PVC, or some sort of bonded material. Don't get duped. The first impression out of the box with a true genuine leather boot should be some imperfections that suggest it was actually an animal, and number two, that smell should be somewhat potent and overwhelming, reassuring you that indeed you've got yourself a good product. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.